This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Dream Power Radio. This is a place where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love and rediscover the truth of who you really are. For most of my life, the concept of past lives was just not in my conscious thought. I grew up in a religious household, which by definition meant it just never came up in conversation. And as an adult, it wasn't a topic that came up much with the people I hung out with either. Then one day, when I got older and started examining the question of who I really was, I came into contact with a woman who called herself a mystic. During the course of our conversation, she grabbed hold of my hands and matter-of-factly said that in one of my past lives, I was someone who held power over others and wielded that power in a harsh way. Frankly, I didn't know what to say. I had a past life? And that's what it was? I mean, this was news to me. And how did she know about it? I don't remember exactly what position she said I had, except to say that I wasn't a ruler or had any kind of government position. I was a bit befuddled and a bit amused at the time. I just kind of filed it away and didn't think much about it again. But then I started this program and was introduced to a number of people who not only believed in the concept of past lives, but who were able to determine who they were in the past and how this knowledge relates to them now. And that got me thinking that there's more to this than I realized. And I warmed up to the idea that we, in the form of our souls, have been here before. One of the people who helped me realize this is Bryn Blankinship. And to that point, I'm thrilled to bring her back to Dream Power Radio to continue our discussion on past life regression. Bryn is an internationally known, award-winning master hypnotherapist whose unique technique for spiritual regression helps her clients better access their past lives in order to help them deal with present-day issues. She's also the author of the book, The Limitless Soul, Hypno-Regression Case Studies into Past, Present, and Future Lives. Welcome back to Dream Power Radio, Bryn.
Thank you, Debbie, for having me back on. It's so exciting to be back here. And, I love talking about this topic.
Yeah, I know, like I said, the first time I was, confronted with the idea that I had a past life, I was much older and more set in my ways. So it was kind of a new concept. But have you always believed that we can access our past lives?
I always had questions about it. So I grew up in a religious household too. I mean, slightly, we were Methodist and we went to church on Sunday. And I just remember being really, really young and we were coming out of church and the preacher looked down at me and he said, "Hey, little lady, what did you think about the sermon?" And he had been talking about life everlasting. So I looked at him and said, "Well, where do we come from?" And my mother looked like she wanted to just die. And she's like, don't say that. No, but I really wanted to understand. I know what he was talking about. We go on. So I wanted to know how we got here. And so as I got older, some of that faded away. And then I was an actress and I wanted to move to the next level in my work. So I went to a past life regressionist because I just knew that my hurdle, somehow I just intuitively knew that my issue that was holding me back was from a past life. And so I went into a past life session and cleared that past life. And I've had, I've had many lifetimes as an artist, like a painter or a writer or a singer. And anyway, you used to have to sing for your supper. And so taking that out of the way allowed things to just open up and unfold. And then I had a couple of sessions. So in one of those sessions, I actually went into a future progression. So just for the listeners, a future progression is when it shows you a future event that is a potential event that's there waiting to happen if you take the steps that lead you there. So
I just want to stop you there because I did have questions about this. So is this future progression in the current life or does it go into a future life?
It could be either. In my case, it went into this life as a future potential that I was trying to create in my career. But it could also, like sometimes when I'm leading clients through a past life session, it shows them something in a future lifetime as well that is waiting for them once they finish up whatever that is happening in their current life. You know, we have cycles, we have reasons for our incarnations and why we come here.
So, yeah. So I haven't actually had a formal, full-blown, regression session, but just thinking about this woman who just matter-of-factly told me about this past life I supposedly had, if that was actually true, is the knowledge of the past lives there to inform us how to live our lives today and giving us lessons like if I was a harsh ruler in the past, teaching me that I should be more tolerant in this life?
Yes, it can be like that. So someone might go into a past life to clear fear because in a past life they may have spoken up against authority and had something taken away, like their property, their family, their life. And so they may have fear of speaking up in their current life, just at their job, right? Because they have this underlying feeling that something very, very bad is going to happen if they speak up. And then often we discover in that past life that their current life boss, supervisor, or manager was the person in authority that took the thing away in their past. And so it's about that person and feeling like that person has the power to take away something from them now, like their job or a project or something, a promotion. But it could be, there's so many reasons someone may go into a past life. So fear is a big one. Understanding relationships, clearing fear, being able to be in touch with your personal power. I teach hypnosis as well and past life regression. A lot of students are getting over their fear of becoming a healer because in past lives, healers sometimes were killed for being really good at what they did or not being good. You were blamed if your patient died, and then sometimes they would kill you so that you couldn't help someone in power to stay well. So, you were always kind of watching over your back. And then, if we're thinking about that, like kingdoms and rulers, I find it interesting when you incarnate into a royal family, your life is decided, a lot of things in your life are decided for you, and your family is waiting in line for the throne. So your family members are waiting to take your job. As soon as you die, they're going to step in. So clearing some of that in past lives helps someone to be more comfortable in their current life. Mm-hmm. And Debbie, it's also about tapping into your intuitive self. That's a big part of it. If you never came in for a past life session, let's just, because lots of people are out there walking around on the planet, they're not going to come for a session. Being in touch with your intuition, which puts you in touch with your soul, helps you to know how to navigate what's happening in your current life, right?
Right.
But in a session, we can get in there and get more clarification, and you can move through your issues more quickly with that knowledge and with that wisdom. So you go back into the past to move forward is how we do that.
Yeah. So when you do a past life regression, how many lives do you uncover during one session?
I normally take someone through one specific life and really tie into the issues that brought them in for the session that day. But it could go to more than one. Sometimes it goes to two. In the assessor session, which is soul expression, spiritual regression, it's an assessment. So it's an assessment of that client's current incarnation. And so in that space, they're tuning into their soul to get more clarification. So sometimes the soul will give overviews of many of their lives without actually going through each one with all the detail, but they'll let them know that you've been working on this issue for many, many lifetimes. And, like learning about love, right? The soul might express to the client in that session that, you're learning about love because you've had it, you've lost it, you've not had it in a lifetime, and this time you're getting to experience having it for the full lifetime. Or you're experiencing through the other people in your lives because they've come in to help you with your experiences, and then you've agreed to help them with theirs. So it's like an acting troupe, and everybody has a role, and everybody's, somebody's going to be the villain, somebody's going to be the victim, someone's going to be the peacemaker, the jokester. We have different roles when we come in. You need the jokester to help lighten things up,
Very much
it can
so.
be intense.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about the concept of soulmates. Have you found that people who are in partnership in current life have also been partners in previous lives?
Yes, that happens many times. We find out that their partners, their soulmate. And let me just explain that soulmate doesn't mean it's always perfect and happy. It's that you have the perfect mate for you who's going to help and support you, who may push you at times that you need to be pushed, but ultimately they're looking out for you. They have your back. But then there are also times in a session that a client finds out that is not their soulmate, right? And so that's why I don't allow people to sit in on the sessions. Sometimes people will say, hey, can I bring my boyfriend or my partner? Can they sit in on the session? First, it's going to inhibit your ability to really go within because you're going to know that they're in the room. You'll hear their breathing. And then if it were to come up that the person that is showing up in the lifetime, the past life, is not your soulmate, the client may feel inhibited from speaking that. So the client is in the session and they're explaining to me what's happening, but they also have that moment where they can choose not to say it, to not share with me. Usually they do share because we're in the room and I'm trying to help them with this. But if there was someone else that they didn't want to know because they don't want to hurt their feelings or they may feel bad, they may not express it. And then that's a whole piece that I could have helped them work with that I didn't know about because they didn't share.
It's so counterproductive because they're there supposedly because they want greater insights into themselves, and they're shutting themselves off from getting it by having somebody else in the room.
So that brings us to the client is always in control, right? Because they're getting the information, but it's up to them to say it, to express it. And the more they can tell me about it, the more we can help develop what's happening in the past life. It helps me know what kinds of questions to ask related to why they came in for the session. What is the purpose? What brought you here today for the session? And then we're going to guide them to help them uncover what they need that's going to help them move forward when they come out of the session.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, so when people come to see you, they're coming for a specific reason, not just a generalized reason?
Most times. Every once in a while, I have someone that's just kind of curious. But even people that are curious have a question about something like, are some of the people in my life now, in my past life, what kind of things have I been working on in my past life? Where are some of the places that I've lived in past lives? Because when you travel and go to a place, you sometimes have that feeling of deja vu and that you've been here before. And that can be sparked by having been in a past life and now you're revisiting that place now. So Debbie, one thing that's really important, our soul, let's just say this is the between, okay? This is heaven, the afterlife. Our soul is here. Like right now, your soul, my soul are up there having a meeting. Our whole spiritual team, each of us came together to have these meetings, podcasts, and then a piece of our soul came down into the body. So when you're living this incarnation, that knowledge is within you, right? But these sessions are to help you get clearer so that you know when that soul energy is guiding you. So your soul knows all of your past lives. It knows everything there is to know about you. But you know this much, you know like a little teeny grain of sand, and your soul knows all this. And in this current incarnation, so a client would have a piece that went into the current life, a piece of soul that went into all of their incarnations. And in those incarnations, they're just out there living their life. But in current life, they're in my office and they're saying, hey, I want to know about my past lives. So we're going through the filter of this mind and this body to jump grooves, so to speak, to get into the groove for that lifetime that holds answers to now. So we are bypassing this filter of this mind and body to get into this other space where we can know more about that past life, what was happening, who some of the players were in a different way. And some of the players in that past life, clients are able to identify as people in their current life. Say, oh, my husband in that life is my brother now, or my mother in that lifetime is my mother now, you know. So it's fascinating. I love it. I'm on the edge of my seat with every session.
That is exciting. Must be as exciting for you as it is for them. But on that note, we are going to take a short break here. We are speaking about past lives with Bryn Blankinship, and we'll be right back. Hi. Have you ever dreamt of a luxurious vacation in a beautiful destination? It's Debbie here with news about my first Dream Power Radio contest. Now's your chance to win a complimentary 3-day, 2-night hotel stay at one of over 30 U.S. or 50 international destinations, like Las Vegas, Hawaii, Rio, or France. And entering is easy. All you have to do is subscribe to the Dream Power Radio podcast. Each week, we will select one lucky winner, and it could be you. To enter, just email a screenshot of your subscription to Debbie@DreamPowerRadio.com. That's Debbie@DreamPowerRadio.com. Your dream vacation awaits, so don't hesitate. Please note, hotel taxes do apply and vary depending upon the winner's choice of destination.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, and we're talking about past life regression with Bryn Blankinship. Well, Bryn, one thing I've always been curious about, are all past lives human, or can we have also been animals?
I've had clients that have described being like an animal or some kind of an animal that may just come in briefly to check out the atmosphere of Earth before they really incarnate, into a lifetime as a human. And then I've had, it happens all the time with clients that have incarnated on other planets or other realms, depending on how you want to look at it, and then they've brought skill sets from other planets that they bring with them into Earth, but they kind of test it out over there and then bring it in with them.
Oh, I want to hear more about this. So without revealing names or even specifics, tell me about somebody who came from another realm. What did they bring?
Okay, when I have musicians, artists that work with sound, music, color, I already know that they have had lifetimes on other planets. And then when we regress them, we find that out. And so Reiki masters, energy workers, that working on a place of energy, sound, light, we practice there and then we come in here because Earth is, it's a denser planet and we are humans, HUEMANS. So we are these balls of light. Our soul energy is light. Our light body resides within our physical body. And that light body from our home place, can go to other planets and exist different bodies, bodiless, formless, and experience the energy of those planets. And then we bring some of that in with us for these incarnations to help us as well.
So you think that all energy healers have actually come from someplace else?
I would say that. I would say that they have had other lifetimes as a healer on Earth, most likely, and are coming back at, some of the ones that have evolved and maybe are more skilled at what they do. And then many have had lifetimes off planet practicing, developing those skills. And then we bring it into Earth. We have a plan, but when we get here, sometimes it doesn't always work out like we had expected. Maybe we didn't bring enough energy with us, our energy form with us to get through because it is a denser planet, or there can be miscalculations, but even that we learn and know that the next time we incarnate, we're going to bring a little bit of extra, a little bit more energy, a little less energy, maybe a shorter to-do list, a bigger to-do list. Yeah.
More. How do people react when they find out that they've actually come from someplace else in their past life?
Well, I just had a session last week, and my client, I saw her again this week, and she said, Bryn, I feel like we've been on a spaceship and you just took me out around the universe, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. Because now everything that she looks at in a different way, right? Everything is connected, and she's seeing a lot of those connections, and then her life purpose, more of that is playing out in her day-to-day life because she's getting more from her soul. She's getting more clarification as everything is starting to integrate. Just things that she may have taken for granted or forgotten about make more sense.
Oh yeah, I mean, that shift in perspective has got to be pretty profound.
Yes. So when you're connected and we are all here on purpose for a purpose, then you can step back a little bit and allow more of that soul energy to guide you, because you have more trust and faith that it's going to work out, because your soul had that plan before it came in. Your soul sat at a table. I guess a table, your soul sat with your group and your guides and the wise beings that made a plan for you. And then other souls stepped up to be part of that plan. And then you incarnated and they incarnated, and now you're playing it out. So you can help guide, like if you're a parent, you can guide your children, but it can help you relax a bit because their soul knows what it needs. And maybe if you back off a bit, it can give them time to develop. Or maybe if you can step in with more compassion, they will tune in more to who they truly are. Sometimes clients are reparenting themselves in the session to give them what they didn't have in this incarnation when they were younger, when guides take them to a lifetime where they had all of that. Maybe they had a loving family and they were comfortable and they had choices and had opportunity. And in this life, it's been different. They haven't had the support. They haven't had the opportunity, and it helps balance some of that out.
And empowers.
It also shows you that all of your lifetimes are not easy, and all of them are not difficult either. It's a little of both.
I'm wondering, do we repeat events in our current life that also happened in a previous life? And I have a specific reason for asking you this, because again, I was talking with somebody who actually had been a guest on a previous podcast. And just in the course of conversation, she said she was looking at me. She said that there was an event that she saw that happened in my past life. And she described this event. And it was identical to something that actually happened to me when I was a little girl. So can that happen, or is she just having lives mixed up?
I don't know. I can't think of an occasion right now that's happened. Although as a little girl, you're more open before we become older and kind of get into school and an analytical way of thinking and, trying to fit in and all the stuff that happens when you're a teenager. And so when you're younger, you're more open to your past lives, and you could have been tapping into that memory when you're younger. But I can't really speak to that.
Mm-hmm. I would probably just have to have a regression myself and see,
yes.
see what actually happens.
We should do that.
Yes. And I want to talk specifically about your soul expression, spiritual regression. What makes this more effective than other past life techniques?
Well, so what was happening is, let me back. I studied with Michael Newton. And then I ended up helping Michael Newton start the Newton Institute. Now, I was on his board and helped start the Newton Institute. And we were doing life between life sessions. But even from the beginning, my sessions started popping into this other space. And then sometimes I would try to do a traditional life between life session or a past life session, but my sessions kept popping into this space. And it just didn't fit the format that these other sessions follow. And so I talked with Michael about this, and we were just talking about how the energies were shifting a bit. And I just let my guides through session help this to evolve. And then I noticed that it started to follow a certain format. So then I allowed it to and didn't try to control it. I didn't try to say, you know what, this is the format that I've been taught, so we have to stick to this. I just step back and let it come through. And then, so, we have guides, and our guides they're there in spirit to help us, and along with their soul. And they know what we need, and they're helping with the day-to-day things, but they don't tell us what to do. We're not their puppets. We're here to learn, experience, but when we need help, we can call upon them. We can call upon our soul. And then we have a soul advisory council, and we have high council. So, there are tiers of the structure in the spiritual realm, and there are tiers of support that are available to us. And then we have like master teachers as well that are even higher than that, like Jesus and Buddha and the archangels. And then in my experience, true animals are at the highest space, not the animals we were talking about earlier in the show, but, those special animals that come in, those special pets, those are at some of the highest vibration, and they come in with pure love and compassion for us and support us through just their energy. And so those guides are here helping us to maneuver through the twists and turns and help us to get what we need. And so with Cesar, it's helping to line the client up. It's soul expression, spiritual regression. The acronym is Cesar, like an assessment. It's a current life assessment at this stage, at whatever point the client comes in for a session, and it's helping them get in touch with their soul state and their hierarchy there in the spiritual realm to give them guidance moving forward. So that's what I wrote about in the book, those clients tapping into that kind of energy. And it sort of gives you a redirect, when you're moving along in one direction and then all of a sudden you are guided to move in another direction, you can do so more smoothly than like a car accident can redirect your life, right?
Right.
Or you can be guided a different way and have your life redirected. It may not be easy, but it could be smoother, when you're following that guidance, because they're there to help us. They help us, they know the bigger plan. We know it on a deeper level, and they're helping us awaken to that knowledge.
Well, we can go on forever. We're just coming to the end. I know you also have a program for teaching people how to do past life regression. So tell me how people can find out about that and about you and where to go.
Oh, well, I teach hypno skill sets and hypno-regression certification. It's a 2-part certification course. I do that online. So many people had asked me to please put it online, and I finally did, and it's been wonderful. I have an international student base. I always have had an international student base. However, they had to fly to me. And so now we do it online, and people can find out more about that at brynblankinship.com. I love to teach. I love to see the students as they go through the phases of the course. And, they have those discoveries that remind me what it was like when I was back in the chair learning.
Yeah, the transformation is probably incredible.
It is. It's an intensive course. It's a 6-day course. And then level 2 is a 6-day course. And by the end of it, you've forgotten some of the things that used to hang you up and hold you up, because you're doing your own personal work in the chair when you're doing practice sessions that are getting you ready and teaching you so that you can work with clients. And, things like, oh, I don't want to speak in public. I don't want to say the wrong word. You're past that by day 2. And, by day 12, you're working in other realms, other planets.
Absolutely. Well, Bryn, thank you so much for being on Dream Power Radio today.
Thank you, Debbie, so much for having me on.
Okay, well, we've been speaking about past lives with Master Hypnotherapist Bryn Blankinship. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. If so, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Until next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio.